this is your girl Wakeji Kamore, and welcome to Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. We are currently studying the book of 2 Samuel, which we are covering chapter by chapter. Today, I'll be reading chapter 21, and then afterwards, I'm going to share my main takeouts. So please stay with me until the end, and don't forget to invite a friend to listen to this by sharing this link. Right, so we are in chapter 21. We are only 3 more chapters to go to finishing the book of 2 Samuel so that we can start a new book. Anyway, let's go straight to chapter 21 and just see what it is that it says. It says, there was a famine during David's reign that lasted for 3 years. So David asked the Lord about it. And the Lord said, the famine has come because Saul and his family are guilty of murdering the Gibeonites. So the king summoned the Gibeonites. They were not part of Israel, but they were all that were left of the nations of the Amorites. The people of Israel had sworn not to kill them, but Saul, in his zeal for Israel and Judah, had tried to wipe them out. David asked them, what can I do for you? How can I make amends so that you will bless the Lord's people again? Well, money can't settle this matter between us and the family of Saul, the Gibeonites replied. Neither can we demand the life of anyone in Israel. What can I do then? David asked. Just tell me and I will do it for you. Then they replied, it was Saul who planned to destroy us, to keep us from having any place at all in the territory of Israel. So let 7 of Saul's sons be handed over to us, and we will execute them before the Lord at Gibeon, on the mountain of the Lord. All right, the king said, I will do it. The king spared Jonathan's son, Mephibosheth, who was Saul's grandson, because of the oath David and Jonathan had sworn before the Lord. But he gave them Saul's 2 sons, Ammoni and Mephibosheth. There's another Mephibosheth, you guys. There were 2. There was one who was the grandson, and then there's this other one who is actually Saul's son, whose mother, Ammoni and Mephibosheth, the mother was Rizpah, daughter of Aiah. He also gave them 5 sons of Saul's daughter, Merab, the wife of Adriel, son of Barzillai from Meholah. The men of Gibeon executed them on the mountain before the Lord. So all 7 of them died together at the beginning of the barley harvest. Then Rizpah, daughter of Aiah, the mother of the 2 of the men, spread burlap on the rock and stayed there the entire harvest season. She prevented the scavenger birds from tearing their bodies during the day and stopped the wild animals from eating them at night. When David learned that Rizpah, Saul's concubine, had done, he went to the people of Jabesh Gilead and retrieved the bones of Saul and his son Jonathan. When the Philistines had killed Saul and Jonathan on Mount Gilboa, the people of Jabesh Gilead stole the bodies from the public square of Beth Shan, where the Philistines had hung them. So David obtains the bones of Saul and Jonathan, as well as the bones of the men the Gibeonites had executed. Then the king ordered that they bury the bones in the tomb of Kish, Saul's father, at the town of Zelah in the land of Benjamin. After that, God ended the famine in the land. Once again, the Philistines were at war with Israel. And when David and his men were in the thick of battle, David became weak and exhausted. Ishbenob was the descendant of a giant. His bronze spearhead weighed more than 7 pounds, and he was armed with a new sword. He had cornered David and was about to kill him. But Abishai, son of Zeruiah, came to David's rescue and killed the Philistines. Then David's men declared, you are not going out to battle with us again. Why risk snuffing out snuffing out the light of Israel. After this, there was another battle, against the Philistines at Gob. And as they fought, Sibbecai from Hushash killed Saph, another descendant of the giants. During another battle at Gob, Elnahah, son of Jair, from Bethlehem, killed the brother of Goliath of Gath. The handle of his spear was as thick as a weaver's beam. In another battle with the Philistines at Gath, they encountered a huge man with 6 fingers on one hand and 6 toes on each foot, 24 in all, who was also a descendant of the giants. But when he defiled and taunted Israel, he was killed by Jonathan, the son of David's brother Shimea. These 4 Philistines were descendants of the giants of Gath, but David and his warriors killed them. And basically that is the end of chapter 21. You see, the thing is, this chapter has me feeling all types of way, but let's backtrack a little bit. So there are these people called the Gibeonites, and you're wondering, why is it that God is so concerned about these Gibeonites and the fact that they were about to be wiped away, and now he has to avenge them, or rather there's a reason why there's a famine, is because Saul almost wiped them out. So all right, let's backtrack. When Joshua crossed the Jordan River and came to this other side of the promised land, and then at that time he was busy just eradicating all these other nations, beating them up and down. There's this nation called the Gibeonites, or rather these people that are called the Gibeonites. What they did is that they went and dressed up as if they had come from a very far away land. They looked, like in tatters. They just looked like they had walked a long distance, and they came and they said they're from a long distance. Oh, they should be helped. Oh, they should, Joshua should make a treaty with them that they should never fight against them. And Joshua did make a treaty with them without consulting God, because it turns out they were just neighbors over there, and they were the Gibeonites. So that's a treaty that Saul broke. And this treaty was that the Gibeonites could live peacefully among the Israelites, embracing the life and the rules of the people of Israel. But when Saul became king, he violated this peace treaty that Joshua had previously made with the Gibeonites. And later, when David became king, he inherited the disgrace of Saul's actions and wanted to make things right with the Gibeonites. The two sides negotiated the terms and an acceptable solution, and they agreed to live peacefully with one another again. And unfortunately, justice meant that 7 men from Saul's family had to die. Unfortunately. So there are 2 key lessons that I picked from this chapter. One, that God takes covenants, promises, agreements, and treaties very seriously. As in, this is a treaty that was made, 400, maybe 500 years ago. But now there's a famine because that treaty was broken. And who broke it? It was Saul that broke it. It wasn't even David. But God takes promises so seriously. God expects us to keep our vows, to keep our agreements, to keep our promises. And when we make them, He expects us to keep them. And if He is this serious, and if this is how seriously He takes promises and covenants and agreements, do you think there is even a slightest chance that He would dishonor any promise that He has made in His word to believers? I don't think so. God takes promises, covenants, vows, agreement, treaties so seriously that He can never go against the things that He has said. As a matter of fact, there's a verse, I can't remember, but it's in a book that we've read before, where it says that God does not require us to make treaties or vows or, to swear by anything. But if we do, we are to honor it. So if God takes treaties and agreements and promises and covenants this serious, there is no chance that He will not honor every word, every promise, every covenant that He has made with the believers in His word. Another thing that I learned from this chapter is sometimes we inherit the problems of others. As in, David alijipata kwa hii situation. It wasn't him who had completely destroyed the treaty, it was Saul. But he found himself in this situation and he needed to make things right. It may be paying off someone else's financial debt, or taking over a project that was poorly executed, poorly planned, or leading people who have been poorly led by others in a previous school or in a previous job or even a family. Or even worse still, marrying someone who was raised in a dysfunctional family and having to deal with all that trauma for his or maybe his and or has unwillingness to heal from the past. We sometimes end up with the responsibility of cleaning up someone else's mess. While this might not, seem, seem fair, it doesn't seem fair, it's not even fair at all. If this responsibility falls on your lap or has fallen on your lap, I assure you 100% that God will help you take care of the things that need to be taken care of. And He will help you make the most of that situation. So ask yourself, what mess are you currently handling that originally belonged to someone else? Are you cleaning someone else's mess? Have you inherited someone else's problem? And what kind of attitude and determination are you approaching it with? David had such an attitude and such a determination to make things right. It was like a panna. Imagine there has been a famine for 3 years. I've asked God about it, and He said it's because of a treaty that was done by Joshua with the Gibeonites, and Saul tried to wipe them out. And that is why the famine is here. And he was so determined to sort it out and to make things right. My challenge for you is ask God for help. Ask Him to show you the way around the cards or responsibilities that you have been dealt with. And I promise you that He will show you a way around it, because unfortunately, sometimes we find ourselves cleaning people's messes. This is your girl Wakeji Kamore, and this has been Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. See you tomorrow.